Yeah, right there guys, Josh with the Leather Repair Company here. We're bringing you along today. We're having a little look at a project we're working on. We are recolouring this leather jacket. As you can see, we've already started stripping it off here. As opposed to the original finish, you can see the difference there quite a lot. Not something I'm usually used to this. I usually exclusively work with shoes, so this is new to me. Third day in, and the boss Richard has got me filming a video. Obviously I'm quite nervous about that, so we'll figure it out. But yeah, this generally the type of stuff that I'm used to. As you can see, incredibly different to a jacket. So first step whenever we're recolouring any item is always the preparation stage. So it's removing the original finish and taking out as much of the colour as we can. With the type of leather that this jacket's made of, which is very thin, very soft leather, that makes it very absorbent. So we wouldn't use our usual leather prep. We'd be using something like the alcohol cleaner, since it evaporates from the leather quite quickly, does a good job of getting all that finish without being too damaging to the leather. So before I spend 2 hours speaking about what I'm going to do, I'm going to start going. Best way to do it is alcohol cleaner onto a cloth or a rag or something like that, and literally just going for it. And you see fairly quickly, with a little bit of rough rubbing, you start getting quite a lot of the finish coming out. Doesn't take too much, not enough to damage the leather, just enough, keep it topped up with alcohol and just keep wiping. And the end goal is to turn this sort of stuff into this. So taking the colour out, you see it turns a lot lighter, takes the shine off the top a little bit, and that just gets to the surface nice and ready for our leather colourant dye that we've got. This is a colour we've already got mixed up that suits this quite nicely. So once we're finished with the prep stage, we'll move on to colouring. And that's it, it's just a case of going over with your cloth, keep applying the alcohol. I don't know how well it's going to transfer to the camera there, but what we start getting is these lighter patches, and that's what we're trying to take over this whole section here. As you see, it really does come off quite thick, and once it's sort of stopped coming off the colour, that's when you're about there and done. And it's just a case of rinse and repeat and carry on. This is something already to do the entire jacket. I've already been working on it for about 5 hours in total, so it's not the it's certainly not the fastest process in the world, but it is the most vital. Without a good preparation, the leather doesn't take the dye very well, it looks very inconsistent. Much like building a house, if you start off with bad foundations, it's not something that's going to last forever. So we get the preparation stage all done nicely. Then we know when it comes to recolouring, everything goes smooth and we don't have to do it again. I tend to live by the statement that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. If you make mistakes and have to correct them, you're just starting over, it's just wasted time. So it is worth taking as much time as you can into the preparation stages. There you go, as you see, we're starting to really get some of the colour coming out now. It's nice and excellent. Got to keep our cloth topped up with alcohol. And what that's doing is it's just penetrating the leather deep enough to take the finish off and some of the colour out, and then it does evaporate. If the leather's starting to get a little bit saturated with the alcohol, all we got to do, use a little hairdryer, just help really get it gone fast. There you go, as you can see there, starting to definitely get a contrast between, we're not quite at the full prepped stage yet, but with the alcohol wetting the leather, sometimes it can be quite hard to see where you're working. So every once in a while, either let it dry, swap to a hairdryer, just to check on your progress of making sure you're not overdoing one specific area. So it can be nice sometimes to work in different panels, so do a little bit on one panel, go to another one, come back. Just helps you keep an eye on the progress that you're making. Because with this leather being so thin and soft, it would be very easy to overdo it and rip it. Obviously that's not something that we're trying to do. So just by taking it slow, we managed to make sure we're doing a good job. Yeah, lots of this deep maroon colour coming out of it. It's very nice. There you go, starts to come out nice. Right, so we'll leave this section here to dry off for a little bit because, as you can see, I've done most of the jacket. I left these panels here just to show you guys what we do. We'll turn it over now and start recolouring some of the back. So you can see, going from this really dark colour, what we inevitably end up with is this almost sort of patchy two-tone effect. And that's how we know it's ready to be recoloured. So, the way we like to do things, take our sponge, take some of the leather recolorant dye that we've already pre-mixed to get the best colour match we can. A little bit on the sponge, just like that. First off, usually we do 2 coats, but first coat usually we're going to be wiping it in, just stroke it all the way across the leather. Try and get some good coverage. Never doing too much at once. Thinner coats are nicer to build up. I'll go over with the first one. And then hit that with the hairdryer. Yeah, with the hairdryer, it dries it really, really fast. You're ready immediately for another coat to go on. Got a second coat, putting a lot more paint on this time. And usually with the second coat, I like to have this sort of stippling motion. Helps keep a really nice and organic looking texture to the paint. Helps keep it looking more like leather. Stops it looking plasticky, which obviously is not what we want to happen. And then this second coat, with it being a heavier coat, really masks all of the two-tone nature of the leather. Gets it very uniform looking, which is what we're after. As you see there, goes on nice and thick. It immediately changes the colour of the leather. I just keep dabbing around with the paint. Keeping it looking quite nice. There we are. Then once we're done with that, we've got a nice even distribution. Go back to the hairdryer. There. And with it being a water-based product as well, once it's dried, it really is dry. You get absolutely no colour transfer whatsoever. It will just stay there. It's fantastic stuff. I'm going to move on to this second panel here. Leave that one to set in a little while longer. Yeah. And the wonderful thing, like I say, with it as well being water-based, it dries. Obviously with the hairdryer nearly instantaneously, but even without the hairdryer, it dries so unbelievably fast. Really cuts your work time down. You're not stopping, waiting for it to set. I mean, I'd laid 2 good coats there, you know, in a matter of what, 2 minutes? So it really is, this is the fast part of the work. This is why doing the preparation is so important. You know, with it all being open leather now, it takes it quite quickly. Like I say, that is due to it being a water-based product. But it dries nice and quick. Doesn't stop your workflow at all. It's a very friendly product to use, very user-friendly. Go over that with the hairdryer. Right, there we are. It really does dry that quick. I'm going to take a nice clean section of our rag here, you know, give it a wipe across the surface. Doesn't really take any of it off at all. It stays nice and in there. Once it's on, it is on. So very, very quick to use. Go for this third panel over here. Just bring this a little closer for me. Just going over it again, as we said before. First sort of coat we're going to go over with the brushing motion, just sort of really get it distributed over. Really get it covered as much as we can. Right, there we are. Now go over with the hairdryer. Right, and there we are there. As you can see, the difference really is night and day. I hope you learnt a thing or two. Thanks for coming along. Any further questions or anything like that, or to look at our products, visit our website, leatherrepaircompany.com. Thanks.